So air handling units here, chillers and what have you over the other side, which will go over and put it there. But generally speaking, there was a simple BMS system installed when they built the building, and over the last few years the system's been added onto. So we've moved to a Siemens control system. So you'll see some other branded equipment in this particular board, which is then connecting through to the Siemens, which is then heading back down to my office. So all that goes this particular building is basically BMS only on heating and ventilating, hot water, domestic water, and some lighting. So you see in these particular classrooms we've got lighting controls, and we've got other buildings like D&E block that have got basically nothing. The BMS only controls the boiler in those particular installations. We've got some quite high energy use buildings. There's S block in the corner, which is Media Arts. That's got gas wire and all sorts of things. So I'm trying to get rid of that, put in some air conditioning, hook up the BMS to it, because they just run the gas 24/7 during the winter, and of course our energy spike is.
So how long is it going to take to pay for itself? 100k?
Theoretically we've already saved 80k this year. And I say theoretically because we yesterday received a report from BTL alleging that number.
Yeah.
I'm not quite convinced of that number yet, because the data that I've got is about kilowatt hours.
This is the chilling side.
This is the chilling side, so there's a few controls in here. But again, because there's no control over the lighting downstairs and what have you, that's my next focus. So Makara's, in terms of the second stage of the project, Makara's had basically 2 to 3 guys out here for 2.5 months. So it's quite a labour intensive network, access through remote desktop. It's 10 o'clock at night and there's a function going and somebody's complaining about the air temperature. It's quite good to be able to dial in from home. So, map of Rotokauri campus here, city campus, so A block, which is where we've just come from. So main menu here in terms of various features, chiller, boiler, various floor levels, which is basically those plans. Then we've got the air handling units, the VAV and VRF zones, and then miscellaneous extract and power. Power's an interesting one for me because, again, because we're a large organisation that's been built over a millennium, we've had different providers put different metering systems and what have you. So we've only got about 2 buildings that currently are metered back to the BMS, and then there's another alternative system which is called Net something, which another half a dozen different meters all read back to. So I've got BTL, again our Siemens contractor, looking at that at the moment so we can bring it all back to one core system. The system tends to, in most instances, have, when I say control, control over particularly the bigger buildings and more public buildings. When we're in A block, there's usually about a 3-degree variation either side of a set point temperature that the users can adjust to. So, we set the temperature generally to about 22 degrees. And then, so there's the various set points, current room temperatures. Again, because of the recent upgrade, we've got an awful lot of alarms at the moment, and they will settle down as the system is refined. So every morning I'd come in and there'd be 100 plus alarms, and generally speaking, nothing to worry about. I'm not of concern. If we go to some of the, I'll go back to a newer building, which is a newer, older building, Winteak House. Winteak House, AC1 and 2. All familiar with the big atrium. So this is the plant for the atrium. CO2 levels currently low because it's not occupied at the moment. So we have a maximum there of 1,000. A set point for that. Fresh air intake, once it goes over 1,000, fresh air intake opens up, and depending on whether you're heating or cooling, then the plant works that much harder. So when we have a big event with lots of people in there, then the plant's really working hard, obviously. We did have some issues quite recently with the compressors tripping out, and isolated that back to an initial programming error, or well, let's call it an error, because it was tripping out. So Siemens popped down and reprogrammed it for us, and this is about 3 months ago. We haven't had an issue since, touch wood. Generally speaking, this system operates pretty well. There's only been a couple of times where I've had to manually adjust the fan speed when there's been like a public address, or somebody's giving a speech or a presentation or something like that, when there's a lot of people and the system's trying to cope and it's going flat out, and of course the person's trying to speak over the PA and what have you, can't really be heard. So a couple of times I've just sacrificed CO2 levels so that the presenter can be heard. I have the system scheduled to off 24/7. The events team issue us with a weekly itinerary of what events are going on, and then I program in the set times for starting up the various features within that space and the other spaces in the building. So at the moment we've got quite a high usage during the day up here, because we've got this international photo exhibition, or